right, follow along here. This is lesson 1.2, fractions and special cases. So if you have your notes packet, follow along in there. If not, just follow along on scratch paper, and you should be good. So first things first, we know that the goal or the objective of solving an equation is just to get the variable by itself. Get all the variables on one side, right? That's how we would solve that. So we are going to go over the steps of solving equations. However, we're going to put it into a better visualization here. So instead of just giving you steps and expecting you to memorize them, we are going to build what's called an equation house, okay? So there's 3 keys you must have before you can enter the equation house. Okay, so follow along with me here. The first key is to distribute. Next key is to kill the fractions. Okay, nothing new. And the third one is to get down to one variable. One variable. Okay, so those are our keys. So they are the keys needed to get into the house. So I'm going to draw the house out to the side. You don't have to. Okay, so again, the objective before you can enter the equation house, though, is to make sure that you have that one variable. If you don't have that one variable, you can't go into the house. Okay, so you've got to get it down. You've got to combine like terms, get it down to that one variable. Once you do that, you can enter the house, okay? And there's different levels of the house. The first level is going to be addition and subtraction, like we've talked about. Then we've got to simplify, okay? This is an added step, but it just makes your life easier when you're simplifying as you go rather than just waiting until the end to do it. Then we multiply and divide, and then we simplify again. So what this house looks like is, let me show you 1 second. So we've got our keys here to get in. So here's the door. Okay, once we get into that little door, I'm not an artist, as you can tell. We've got our addition or subtraction. That's the first floor. Second floor is going to be to simplify. I'm just going to put simp to abbreviate. Then we've got multiplication and division. And then we've got simplify again. And then we've got our attic, which means our answer. Attic equals answer. Okay, I know this is cheesy. It definitely is. But it's going to help us to make sure that we are solving these equations and using all of our steps. So draw that somewhere on your paper if you'd like to. Make sure you have the steps written down. Okay, now we've got some examples. Solve each equation. So, looking at this one, first step are 3 keys. So we've got to distribute. 2/3 times 3m is just going to give me 2m. 6/3 times -6 is just going to be -4, right? Okay, equals 5 minus m. Our other keys are killing the fractions. Don't have any of those, but I do need to get it down to one variable. It's easiest to move the smallest one, which is -1m, over. Left with 3m minus 4 equals 5. Okay, am I down to one variable? Yes, now I am. So now I can enter that house. Addition or subtraction, I know it's going to be addition. Multiplication or division, division. And I can't simplify, so I'm good on that one. Okay. Go ahead and try the others on your own. Pause here. Okay. Okay, ready to solve this one. First key is to distribute. We end up with 2u plus 1 equals 7 minus u. No fractions here. Get it down to one variable. Is 2 or negative 1 smaller? We know negative 1 is. So we end up with 3u plus 1 equals 7. Inside the house now, we are adding or subtracting. We know we are subtracting. We get 3u equals 6. And now are we multiplying or dividing? Dividing. U equals 2. 3 keys on this one. Distribution is first. 2/3 times 9x is 6x. 2/3 times negative 12 is negative 8. Equals 8 plus 2x. No fractions on this one. We got lucky again. Get it down to one variable. 2 is smaller than 6. 4x minus 8 equals 8. Addition or subtraction, we're inside that house now. We know we've got to add. 4x equals 16. Can't simplify that, but we know our next step is to divide. And our answer is x equals 4. Good deal. Next step, distribute. I've got a 1/4 here. 16 times 1/4 is just going to be 4u. 60 times 1/4, 15. Okay, not down to one variable yet. Need to subtract the smaller one over. 5u minus 5 is what I've got on the left, equals 15 on the right. Inside the house now, we know we've got to do addition because that was a negative 5. Last step, divide by 5. Okay. Special cases are what we have next. Whoops, there we go. All right. Conditional equations. These are the equations where you get one answer. Contradiction equation, sorry, I struggled to say that today, is a no solution. That is a contradiction equation. It contradicts itself. There's no solution. And then we have identity equations, which give us all real numbers or infinitely many solutions. Okay, so the special cases that we might see. This first one, let's solve it and see what we get. Distribute first. Okay, get it down to one variable. Well, we have 2 7s, so it doesn't matter which one I move, but I know if I subtract it on both sides, it's just going to cancel and give me 14 equals 2. Does this work? Is that a true statement? No, it is not. It is a no solution, which can also be written as this little symbol right here, which means it is a contradiction. All right, pause here and go ahead and solve out the rest of these. Okay, so on this one, no distribution, no fractions, just got to get it down to one variable. I see I have 8x on both sides, so I'm going to add an 8x over. I end up with 9 equals 0. Also a contradiction, right? A no solution, good. Moving right along. First step, distribution, 6n minus 6 plus 3 equals 2n minus 8 plus 10n plus 5. Okay, so we've got all of our parentheses taken care of. We don't have any fractions, but we do know we can combine some like terms on both of these sides. So we get 6n minus 3 equals 12n. And then negative 8 plus 5 is going to be a negative 3. All right. Go ahead and get it down to one variable. I'm going to move the smaller one over. So negative 3 equals 6n minus 3. subtract, we know we've got to add. So 0 equals 6n, last step is just to divide. 0 divided by 6 is just 0. So n equals 0 is my answer. So that would be a conditional one because we did get an answer on that one. And then the last one, first step is distribution. So we've got 4 plus 27x minus 63. I'm running out of room. And then we've got negative 42x minus 13 plus 69x minus 46. Okay, combine like terms, we end up with 27x minus 59 on this side equals 27x minus 59 on this side. And I forgot my 7 right there. Okay. So these two things equal each other, right? So this would be in all real numbers, which that is the sign for all real numbers. You could also just write it out. Infinitely many solutions, right? That's another answer for this one. All right. Okay. So we see we've got a lot of fractions here. In your notes, there is something, or a sentence at the top that says, anytime you have a different denominator, you must remember to multiply by that LCD, that least common denominator. So don't forget to do that. So here on number 1, we'll go ahead and get started. Let me zoom in here. First step, distribute. Don't have any parentheses, we're good. Next step, kill the fractions. So what is the least common denominator of 4, 6, and 12? We know that they all go into 12, right? So I can distribute out that 12. 12 times 1 is 12 divided by 12 is just 1x. 12 times 5 is 60 divided by 6 is 10. 12 times 3, 4. So 12 times 3 is 36 divided by 4 is 9. Okay. You'll see that I'm down to one variable. Can I add or subtract? Yes. Subtract that 10 over. We get x equals -1. Don't have anything left to do on that one, right? That's as simple as it will go. Moving on to number 2. Try this one on your own. Okay, looking at 8, 2, and 4. What number will all of those go into? We know that they all go into 8, right? Let's make sure you think of the big enough number that will fit all of them in there, that will go in there evenly. 8 times 1, 8 is just going to be 1x. 8 times 1/2 is going to be 4. 8 times 1/4 is just going to be 2. Down to one variable. So next thing is to add or subtract. So we can just subtract the 4. We end up with x equals -2. And that's my final answer. Okay, so that's how we kill the fraction. Then we get down to problems that look like this. I'm sorry this is in a little bit too light of a font, but we can still see it. So normally, like I said, the first step is distribute, second step is to kill the fraction. Sometimes those steps can be interchangeable if they will save you some work. So examples of that would be this one. I could go ahead and distribute out that 1/5 and that 1/4 on the right. But if I go ahead and kill that fraction first, it's actually going to save me a lot of work in the end. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just look at the two fractions, 5 and 4. What's a number that they both go into? 20, right? That's the first one that comes to my mind. So what I'm going to do is multiply by 20 on both sides. Okay? Just like we said with multi-distribution, normally we start from the inside, we work our way out. We can actually just multiply these two numbers, okay, before we distribute. See what we get, and then that will become the new number that's in front of our parentheses. Okay, so 20 times 1/5 is just 20 divided by 5, which is 4, n plus 3. 20 times 1/4 is 20 divided by 4, which is 5, n plus 2. Okay, so now we can solve this like an average equation. distribute 4n plus 12, 5n plus 10. Get it down to one variable. And subtract. So that is how I do that. Okay? Let me show you what would have happened had I not done that, had I gone ahead and distributed out. Okay? So I'm going to erase, but you don't need to. You leave your answer the same. Know that it's n minus 2, remember that, okay? I'm going to show you the work and show you how this would be the same answer, but a whole lot more work if I didn't see that in the beginning, which it's okay if you don't, but it's just going to end up being a lot more. Oops. Okay, so looking here, if I go ahead and distribute out, it gives me 1/5 n plus 3/5 equals 1/4 n plus 2/4 or 1/2. Okay, so now I've got 5, 5, 4, and 4. What goes into, or what number can they both go into? 20, right? Okay, now I've got a big, huge distribution problem. 20 times 1/5 n is going to be 4n. 20 times 3/5 is going to be plus 60 divided by 5, which is 12. 20 times 1/4 n is going to be 5n. 20 times 2/4 is going to be 40 divided by 4, which is just 10. Okay? So those were pretty big fractions that I had to simplify in my head. Okay? This ends up still getting me down to the same problem. I still end up with n equals 2 at the end, okay? But I had way bigger fractions than if I would have just killed them to begin with, okay? So know that you will get the right answer, but it will just be a lot more work. So looking at the next one, killing these fractions, 2 and 4, they both go into 4, right? So again, we're just multiplying these two numbers. We're not distributing to the very inside parentheses. Half of 4 is 2y minus 5. 1/4 of 4 is just 1, which is just gives me those inside parentheses. 1 times y minus 1 is y minus 1. So distribute on this side. 2y minus 10 equals y minus 1. Subtract the smaller variable over. Add 10. Add 10. And we end up with y equaling 9. Okay? Moving right along, for some reason we're cut off. We'll go ahead and solve it anyways. So we'll zoom in on this one. This is the first one. So solving fractions with expressions or multiple values in the numerator, these are going to work the exact same way. Okay, so let's kill our fractions first, and then we will worry about simplifying later. Okay, no distribution on this one, so I don't have to worry about simplifying early yet. Okay, killing my fractions though, I've got 2 and I've got 4, so everything can be multiplied by 4. When I do that, okay, so 4 being multiplied by this first term, so that leaves me 4 times 4q plus 3 over 2 plus 6 times 4, which is 24, equals 4 times 3q plus 5 over 4. So looking here, this looks confusing, but it's just like killing fractions worked whenever we had fractions in our other denominators, okay? We can simplify this. 4 over 2 is just 2. So this is just the same thing as 2 times 4q plus 3 plus 24. These 4's can totally cancel out, which just gives me 3q plus 5. Okay, and when I'm multiplying these from the beginning, if I actually see that, I don't have to write down all of this, okay? I can just see that, hey, that's going to simplify to just a 2 in front of that first part. and I don't have to worry about writing the 4/2. Okay, go ahead and simplify. We can distribute this. 8q plus 6 plus 24 equals 3q plus 5. We do have some more simplifying to do before we can move anything. 6 and 24 becomes 30. Move the smaller variable over. 5q plus 30 equals 5. Subtract, right? Negative 25 equals 5q. Last step is division. Q equals negative 5. Okay. Our next question, and for some reason it got cut off, so we'll just go ahead and move over here and write it. So we had 3r plus 5 over 6 plus 1 equals 4r plus 3 over 3. Our denominators here are 6 and 3. What can they both go into? 6, right? 6 goes into 6 and 3 goes into 6. So we can multiply by 6 on both sides. When we do that, these 6's are just going to cancel out on the first one, right? We'll end up with just 3r plus 5, and then 6 times 1 is 6. The next one, 6 and 3, just going to become 2 over 1. So we now just have 2 times 4r plus 3. That looks a lot simpler. Distribute on this side, we get 8r plus 6. Combine like terms on this side, we get 3r plus 11. Subtract the smaller variable first. 11 equals 5r plus 6. Subtract 5r equals 5. Last step is to multiply or divide, and we know we are dividing. 5 divided by 5 is just 1. Okay. Next one, pretty similar. Pause and try this one on your own. Killing the fraction. What goes into both of them? Or not what goes into both of them. What do they both go into? Sorry. 2 and 4. They both go into 4. When I multiply, 4 over 2 is going to just become 2 on top, being multiplied by that 2x plus 3. And 4 times 1 is just 4. These 4's are going to cancel and just give me 3x plus 2. Distribute. 4x plus 6 plus 4 equals 3x plus 2. 4x plus 10 equals 3x plus 2. Move which variable? The smaller one, right? X plus 10 equals 2. Last step here. Whoa, what am I doing? There we go. Minus 10. X equals 2 minus 10, which is negative 8. Okay. One more here that we've got to work on. We'll go over here since it cut us off. 0.25x plus 0.05 x plus 3 equals 2.85. Anytime you have decimals like this, always use a calculator, okay? Don't try to do this in your head. But we'll work this one just like any old equation. We'll use that equation house, okay? Our first few keys are distribution. 0.05 times x is 0.05x. 0.05 times 3, use a calculator, it's 0.15 plus 0.25x equals 2.85. Okay, we can combine like terms here. These will just become 0.3x plus 0.15 equals 2.85. Then we subtract, just pretend that these were regular numbers, okay? We know that they're decimals. This ends up being 2.7 equals 0.3x. And when we divide by 0.3, divide by 0.3, plug that in a calculator, and you should get x equals 9. And that's your final answer. We're not going to worry about these word problems right now because we didn't get to them in class today, so don't worry about those. But just know that your homework is on Canvas. Please check that and let me know if you have questions. Thanks, guys. See you later.